Groovy.
Welcome to Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kaine.
I am JD.
And I'm Joe, I guess.
Hi, Joe. Today, my friends, is a wonderful day. An exciting, fantastic, beautiful day.
It's a glorious day.
It's a glorious day because we are going to be throwing the Evil Dead onto the slab and carving up our favorite portraits to force feed to you, our unwitting victims. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, and you better fucking enjoy the tastes of these feasts of fright, then give us a like and subscribe. Being sure to click the bell. Consider taking a look at our website. We give you brainworms.com. This will let you take a look at our other projects and give you access to our Patreon and our Discord.
Both are good things. Check them out.
Yeah, and when you go to the Discord, there's usually one of us hanging out. Plus, we have an Instagram.
Yes, we do.
Where you could take pictures of unsightly boils, rashes, or lumps and send them to JD, and he will diagnose them for you.
I will observe them and tell you to see a medical professional.
Guys.
What?
Yes.
Guys, we're covering
That's me.
the Evil Dead.
I'm one of them.
We're covering the Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead?
The Evil Dead.
I don't even know what that is.
I love the Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead is your Star Wars.
It is.
You are the equivalent of a fucking Star Wars nerd, except for it's the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Kaine is horny for the Evil Dead.
I love
He really,
the Evil
truly is. It's making him just become invigorated with
Dead. Yeah,
life.
dude, it is my favoritist of favoritist movies. All of the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
He's rock hard right now.
Yeah, he's bouncing up and down in his chair like a child that has to urinate in the back of a bus.
I mean, that took it to a weird place.
Yeah, it
Kinda.
really did.
Yeah, it took the wind out of the sails on that one, Joe.
Well, no, because like when a kid has to pee, they do that little pee-pee dance.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
No,
All right.
I see the, it's very an imaginative way to picture Kaine, that's all.
Anyway, anywho, JD, give us a synopsis overview of The Evil Dead.
Do it.
I'm gonna. All right, so a synopsis.
Join us.
For The Evil Dead. A loving couple, along with some friends, trek deep into the woods to a cabin for a weekend getaway. Once inside the cabin, the group finds a book of cursed texts. The ancient demonic passages unlock an absolute flood of unimaginable evils.
Evils?
As the race for daylight begins, the victims must do whatever it takes to survive.
That's it?
That is my synopsis.
Holy hell. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was pretty on point.
That was a really good synopsis, JD.
Well, it better be good because it's for a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead was released officially October 15th of 1981, but it had a different title at that time. It was The Book of the Dead. And it was distributed by New Line Cinema.
I kind of feel like that's a better title.
Yeah.
It was distributed by New Line Cinema?
No. The Book of the Dead is a better title.
It's a pretty damn good title, but The Evil Dead also rules, just to be clear.
No, I mean, I love that too.
It's 85 minutes long. It had a budget of $400,000, and it grossed $2.7 million at the box office.
Yeah, the short film that they used to get financing to make The Evil Dead had a really good name, and it was just Within the Woods.
Yeah.
And that's a really good name for a movie.
I'm going to touch down on that in a bit.
I got something you can touch down on.
Ooh. Oh, Joe, you're so coy.
Oh, my. God, we're stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, The Evil Dead was written and directed by the legendary... Yes, Sam Raimi, folks. Sam Raimi. And it was produced by Robert Tappert, and they're old-time buddies. Sam Raimi born Samuel M. Raimi, was sprouted into existence in Royal Oak, Michigan, October 23rd, 1959. He's a horror legend, an icon, a horror deity, if you will.
In filmmaking, he's a legend. He changed the game.
That's true. He's a talented director, producer, writer, and even did some acting. Very, 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 very well known for creating the cult horror classics, the Evil Dead series. That's quite fucking wonderful.
Hell yeah.
So, in the early 2000s, he was involved with some Spider-Man shit, but that's not what I'm here for.
It's not horror, JD.
I know it.
Yeah, we don't care about anything else.
He did some stuff, a film called Dark Man, A Simple Plan, and then really obviously I love all of the Evil Dead series, but outside of that, I love the film Drag Me to Hell in 2009. I was absolutely tickled by that. So to kind of rewind a bit, Raimi founded the production company Renaissance Pictures in 1979, and he did it with a few pals that, there's some ties that I'll explain, but anyway, the company Renaissance Pictures is still current, and this is important to talk about because Robert Tapert and actor Bruce Campbell, also a publicist named Ivan Shapiro, they all sort of founded this company together, and they founded it, with the sole purpose to produce their film The Evil Dead, along with its sequels, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. I'm not certain that they understood those sequels would come to be initially, but I know Kaine is going to shower us with information on that in a bit. Anyway, the company produced some other movies. They produced Dark Man as an example, but it did a lot more in television, honestly. Most recently, Ash vs. Evil Dead between 2015 and 2018. Sam Raimi he's a man after my own heart in a lot of ways. He loves the Three Stooges, and that is where he cultivated a lot of the slapsticky elements introduced in, the Evil Dead 2. There was some of it in the Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2 is really, I think, very slapsticky.
Well, yeah, because the original movie, the Evil Dead, they were making a horror film, but their inexperience and lack of funds have made it to where a lot of those scenes just end up being campy and kind of funny, right?
Sure.
But with Evil Dead 2, they had the funding, and they basically were like, fuck it, let's make this, it'll have its scary parts, but damn it, this is going to be slapsticky fun too.
Sure.
And they learned from that first experience, I believe, just the idea that it was humorous in a lot of ways, and so they decided to, lean into it.
I mean, Bruce Campbell even said that when they were trying to find someone to release The Evil Dead, they were just showing the film in different places. And they ultimately, no matter what they got, if they got laughs, if they got screams, as long as they got reactions to the film, they were stoked.
Yeah, it was a positive. Absolutely.
Right. Would you consider this podcast to be a modern day Three Stooges?
No. There was actual talent in the Three Stooges.
That's fair. Fair.
I'm definitely Shemp, though, if it goes that way.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm obligated to be fucking Curly then.
I don't know which Three Stooges were which.
So then why would you make
show
the joke?
Since I was like 7.
You're definitely Mo. Kaine, you are 100% Mo. Joe would be Larry, and I would be a combination of Curly and Shemp.
I'm going to be honest. I thought that I would say, aren't we a present day Three Stooges? Kaine would just be like, no. And then we would move on.
Okay.
I didn't think the joke would last this long.
We drew it out. We did.
Was it a joke?
My fault.
It was meant to be. Just because it's not funny doesn't mean it's not a joke.
It just means it's a bad joke.
Exactly.
Touche. Continue, JD.
I'm sorry, JD.
No, that's fine. I appreciate the banter. I'm going to move forward, though, a little bit more about Sam Raimi because he's worth it.
He is.
He deserves it.
He deserves this. So his film Crime Wave in 1985 was instrumental in sending Raimi back to the horror genre. He kind of moved away from horror for a bit.
Yep.
And Crime Wave was actually co-written with the very, very unknown Coen brothers.
The Coen brothers?
At the time, they were very unknown. No one knew who the fuck the Coen brothers were, but they were involved on this.
Can I add something in?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, so the reason that the Coen brothers were involved is when they were in New York trying to get Evil Dead finished. some of the edits were actually done by one of the Coen brothers. And that's how they met.
Beautiful.
Then the Coen brothers worked with him on Crime Wave, and the prison in Crime Wave was called the Hudsucker Prison, I think.
Yeah.
And then the Coen brothers ended up using that name as like a tip of the hat for their movie, The Hudsucker Proxy.
Right, sure. So yeah, Crime Wave fucking bombed.
It did.
Largely due to bad studio intervention, which kills a lot of films.
Yeah.
But fortunately for horror fans, it drove Sam Raimi back to making horror films. Raimi dipped his toes into other genres yet again, though, including the 90s Western, The Quick and the Dead, with Sharon Stone and Gene Hackman. I love Gene Hackman. I don't know why.
He's like an upset stepdad. I have like a love-hate relationship with Gene Hackman.
Sure.
Like I always see him as being disapproving of my life choices, but
Sure.
not connected enough to me to feel like he has a real say.
Right. I get that. I do. I get that.
So I would like to say, all right, my co-hosts here are aware of it, but we should probably tell you that we're covering all of the Evil Deads, including the Evil Dead reboot.
Yeah.
But Kaine, that movie came out after 1989. Are we legally allowed to talk about it?
Yes.
Hey, Joe,
Yeah.
fuck off. It's Evil Dead.
rude.
We're covering it.
Yeah, we're making an exception.
Dude, I
'cause
considered being like, guys, we're going to have to spend the rest of this season going over Ash versus Evil Dead
Sure.
and the video games. So let's just be happy that we're stopping.
That might be excessive.
We're just
Yeah,
be
you
happy
would
that
have
we're
to
stopping.
shoot me in the fucking head because I can't do anything for more than 4 weeks in a row. Like,
Right. So just be glad that I was like, okay, I'm going to stop at the remake and then, or the reboot. It's not even a remake. It's a reboot that tips the hat a lot to the original film.
you know, I take that back. I wouldn't want you to shoot me in the head. I'd want you to part me with a chainsaw.
You know what? If you ever got possessed by a Kandarian demon, I would do it.
You're a good friend.
I'd expect that of you. I would expect nothing less.
But the reason that I brought that up, definitely don't blow your full load because we're going to be talking about Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell a lot.
It's good advice. Don't blow your full load, people, if you're listening.
Keep some held back.
Oh my God. JD,
Semen
hold on,
retention.
hold on. Joe, what's the date today? All right, mark this down.
Okay.
That's one of the best JD joke segues ever.
Okay. I don't know. I can't tell if I'm insulted or if I love you right now. I don't know what to say.
Kaine has that effect on people, I think.
That was just really good. All right. I really enjoyed that.
I'm not sure if I think you're great or if you just really hurt my feelings. I think I need to go into a different room and evaluate
That's
that.
where I'm at. I could lay in my bed for the rest of the night and just think about that.
Kaine just inspires that feeling in the people around him, I think.
I understand. I've seen him in action. I've watched Kaine interact with other people before, and so I know how it goes. I know how it's supposed to go. So I'm still talking about Sam Raimi, though. So let me go ahead
keep
and
going. Just don't spray it all out. You know what I mean? Hold some back.
I'm trying.
Keep one in the chamber.
Sam Raimi retention is a difficult practice. I do feel if I hold some Sam Raimi in, my chi is stronger, though. And I do feel like I strike harder. And I have less fear before fights.
This is a weird time that we're having.
Yeah, this is a weird place we're going to.
It's a time. It's a time. Don't worry, Kaine. I'll have a lot to say about Sam Raimi for the next month.
Nice.
Keep a little bit of Sam Raimi inside you at all times, is what we're saying.
He's with me always. You should see me right now. I'm sitting at my desk with my little mic stand, and I'm bare ass naked, except for my lovely little pendant, and inside is, well, one part's a mirror, obviously, and then the other part is a picture of Sam Raimi. It's like a locket, you know?
Wait. Is this why I can't convince you to do these episodes in front of a camera? Is that because you're shy that I would be staring at your nakedness?
I mean, you would only see my nipples, and
Are you embarrassed about your nipples, JD?
Do you have weird nipples, JD?
Yeah, what's going on with this?
We're not going to judge you. It's fine.
We're not. This is not the place of judgment.
We're not like the others.
they're fairly tattooed, so I don't know that you would even notice my nipples. But anyway, back to Sam Raimi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more I need to release. So bear with me here. Bear with me. He's also produced a ton of horror films. He produced The Grudge in 2004, The Messengers in 2007, 30 Days of Night, also in 2007, and Rise, Blood Hunter. That was also in 2007. The Possession, 2012. Evil Dead, 2013. Don't Breathe, 2016. Crawl, 2019. And then a reboot of The Grudge in 2020. And then there is a few films that he's in the act of producing, The Unholy and Don't Breathe 2, that are to be released in 2021 at some point.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. So he's going to be involved in the production of a supernatural horror film called, I believe it's pronounced Uma, and that is it's yet to be announced when the release of that is, but that's directed by Iris K. Shim. The producer of Evil Dead is Robert Tappert.
Is it Tappert or Tapert?
Maybe it's Tappert. Let's go with that. Born May 14th, 1955, also in Royal Oak, Michigan. And he and Raimi attended Michigan State University together. Robert Tappert and Ivan Raimi were friends and actual college roommates. And through Ivan, he met Sam and Bruce Campbell.
That is correct.
So yeah, here I'm just kind of going to go through a couple of films. Tappert produced the Evil Dead Trilogy. He did Darkman.
Also an amazing film.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sam Raimi's own invented superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Boogeyman in 2005. The Grudge 2 in 2006. Boogeyman 2 in 2007. He actually co-produced The Grudge in 2004 and The Grudge Reboot in 2020, along with Raimi. Along with 30 Days of Night and Rise in 2007. I just kind of went back in time. I got a little Tarantino on you guys with the...
Going back in time.
Yeah. And so he produced Drag Me to Hell and Messengers Part 2.
I've never seen that. And
subtitled
I've been told,
The Scarecrow.
Well, he did The Messengers, and I've been told that is a fantastic horror movie.
Yeah, I need to
And
see that.
I've just never stumbled into watching it. So
yes.
We'll talk afterwards, but I think we might need to do that movie.
Let's throw it into season 3.
Have you seen it, Joe?
I have not.
All right, so there we go. We're gonna have a fresh movie that none of us have ever seen in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
In this season.
That is exciting. So yeah, those films were released in 2009. Then he produced The Possession and Evil Dead in 2013. And in 2015, he actually produced a remake or a reboot or whatever of Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist. And then he did Don't Breathe in 2016.
Don't Breathe was a very good movie.
The Unholy and Don't Breathe 2 are going to be coming out sometime in 2021. And
no shit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's pretty much the director, somewhat of the writing conversation, and the producers of The Evil Dead.
Yeah, it's also fun to point out that Rob Tappert is a founding partner of not just Renaissance Pictures, but of Ghost House Pictures as well. And he is married to Lucy Lawless, which he produced Xena Warrior Princess.
Yep.
Yeah. He did a lot of... I left all that out because it's just so fucking annoying, but...
And because Kaine gets mad when we talk about anything that isn't...
Yeah,
horror.
but Lucy Lawless has an important spot in Evil Dead history, even though we're not going to talk about the series.
Sure.
That's fair.
But yeah, so let's move on to... Why don't we talk about the writers, Joe?
The writer was Sam Raimi, and we pretty heavily sprayed our Sam Raimi all over the episode already.
Our full Sam Raimi load has been released.
I am going to mention just some fun things in his writing credits that I happened to come across. I didn't know that he was involved with Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena the Warrior Princess.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yes, he was involved.
And also that, and some of it might just be tangential credit for creating the characters. But as far as I can tell, he actively did writing in all of the Evil Dead video games as well.
Yep.
Including the one that's coming out this year, which I believe you're pretty excited about.
I'm super excited about the Evil Dead game.
Sure. And this is the last bit. He got an incidental writing credit because he created the character, was involved in creating the character in Xena XXX, an Exquisite Films parody, which is a porn parody of the show Xena Warrior Princess.
Whoa.
Oh, that's just fantastic.
So that's that. You want to hear some cinematography action?
Yeah, let's get on that.
No. Now I changed my mind.
Nope, you got to do it now.
Fine. Cinematographer Tim Philo, who not a lot of information exists online about for whatever reason. Well, I mean, I know why, because he didn't do much after the 80s.
Right.
So, like, I don't know where he was born. I know he was a student at Wayne State University, and he got the cinematography credit for this film, but the camera work and a lot of those duties were kind of just handled by, like, he was involved, obviously, but were handled by Sam Raimi and just whatever member of the cast and crew happened to be handy to hold a camera that day.
Yep. He basically was there because he brought the equipment.
Right. Yeah, that's the impression that I'm getting. And apparently he left midway through the shoot to go and live his life because apparently the filming of Evil Dead was a whole ass thing.
Yeah.
And he left behind an Aeroflex BL camera that he borrowed from his school on the condition. And I don't know what kind of steel ball charisma Sam Raimi's walking around with to have gotten this deal through. But he was like, yeah, I promise we won't use it. Just leave it behind in case we need it.
Yep.
I guess was the conversation that happened, but that was his condition for leaving it behind, was just like, yeah, I'll leave it, but it belongs to my school. Don't use it. And then Philo came back at the end of filming to find that camera badly damaged and covered in Caro syrup blood because apparently they used it
A lot.
Oh, the luster of those steel balls.
Yeah, Bruce talks about after the conversation where Sam was like, hey, we need that as a backup camera. And Tim was like, all right, fine, but just don't use it. And Sam was like, of course not, man. Of course not. And then Tim Philo was like 5 minutes gone. And Sam was like, get out the BL.
Yeah. I read an interview with Tim Philo, and apparently that camera was fucked when he came back for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, he didn't do much outside of, he did some camera work on Evil Dead 2 and Within the Woods, the short that became Evil Dead.
That financed Evil Dead.
Yeah. And he worked with Sam Raimi on a lot of his early short films, but he didn't do a ton after that in terms of like filmmaking.
Right.
But apparently he and Raimi collectively just kind of out of, we need to get these shots that we want, and we're just scrappy and have no money. They just kind of bullshit a lot of like these weird camera techniques, including the opening shot. I'm going to talk about camera bullshit for probably a few minutes.
Yeah.
So feel free to take a little nap.
I don't know. This shit's interesting to me.
Yeah. I know
That's
you're
great.
heavily into the Evil Dead.
No, this is great.
But yeah, apparently Sam Raimi sat on a raft and was pulled through a bog, if I'm understanding correctly, by Bruce Campbell. And that's how they got kind of the opening shots of the film.
That's beautiful.
And then they just invented things by like, and I love this kind of scrappy punk rock cinema, by just like bolting garbage to cameras. They invented the idea of the shaky cam, where they mounted a camera onto a 22-inch 2x4, say that 3 times fast, and just ran it along the bumpy ground to get like that immersive kind of juddery, you're really in the shot kind of vibe.
The entity thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they took that and took it to the next level by inventing the vasocam, where they put the shaky cam, they greased the bit of wood that it was bolted to with petroleum jelly, and then just kind of ran it along another bit of wood.
All right. So that's not entirely, because I actually have the book If Chins Could Kill, and I have the diagrams on what these things were.
Sure. Yeah, because I've got an interview with Philo, and that's how he described it.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you've got more specific information, fire it up.
So what they would do is the shaky cam was just the board. Like they just mounted the camera to the board, and then somebody was in charge of running with that thing, right? The vasocam was their answer, their low budget answer to the steady cam.
Right.
So they would take like a 2x4 and they would wrap it in duct tape. So it got rid of like all of the bumps and ridges and whatnot. And then they would mount that on sawhorses. And then they would smear Vaseline on the tape covered wood. And then that actually had a mounting bracket that they put the camera on.
Sure.
so that they could easily glide it along.
Okay.
And so that's the Vaso or the Vaso cam.
I would like to add quickly that they were no strangers to mounting things to planks of kinetic, chunks of wood, including the actress. Didn't they make an
Yes.
elevator?
Yeah.
By
The elevator, yes.
That's incredible.
Which was basically they would put black cloth on the window. Or they put black cloth on the window behind her for that scene where she levitates. And she was basically attached to a wooden pole that they were using a sawhorse as a fulcrum.
So there's no out of bounds where they're concerned about attaching things to wood. They're like, fuck it. People, cameras, everything. Just
But yeah, that Vaseline and duct tape contraption was how they compensated for the fact that they couldn't get a Steadicam.
Yep.
Which
it's
is
brilliant.
amazing.
It's brilliant.
And the fun continues with attaching things to things. Because apparently they had to get shots where they would run the camera in the direction of the cabin or the trees. And someone, probably Philo, because he seems very protective of this equipment, was like, I'm going to smack the fucking camera into a wall. So they bolted another bit of wood at the end, like a battering ram. The Ramocam, yeah. So that they could run it in the direction of objects and not actually hit the camera lens.
And they actually used that to great effect on the scene where Shelley is staring out the window. When the camera bursts through that window, that is the Ramocam.
Ah, good to know.
That's awesome.
And then apparently, because again, I just like talking about the Thingocams. and there were so many of them. And so like I've got one more. Wait, no, I've got a couple more. Then they had the Blanco cam, in which they put Tim Philo just in a blanket and then had 4 other dudes just carry him like fucking pallbearers while he pointed the camera at whatever to get like low hanging like chase shots to get like people's feet and people's backs and that kind of thing. And then apparently they would just sometimes put a cameraman in a wheelchair and just run them around to get shots,
which is just fantastic,
which is amazing. And
so
Philo,
good.
This is a direct quote from the interview I read, says these rigs help to make the movie look like a movie.
I mean, it changed filmmaking.
It did, which is amazing.
Exceptional ingenuity.
They were just attaching shit to shit. And it changed the visual language of horror movies forever.
It did.
It's so good.
It is. Especially when you think about the fact that it was supposed to be a 6-week shoot.
Right.
That turned into a 12-week shoot.
Yeah.
And they were just, by the end of it, they were just hemorrhaging people there was like 5 people left. And they were living in the cab, like the house they had rented, because they rented like a 5-bedroom house, right? And everyone lived there. So all of the cast, all of the crew, every single member that was involved with that movie lived at that fucking house. And then when the rent was up, there was only 5 of them left. Like their time there was up. Apparently, and this is from Bruce Campbell, the reason that they had to leave that house is because it was getting ready to be turned into a brothel.
Oh.
So they needed them out so they could start making that sex money and earning. But they lived at the fucking cabin, and it was so cold that they just started burning furniture that they didn't need anymore.
Oh, wow.
And didn't you say earlier that the cabin had no plumbing?
Oh, yeah. Here's the story from If Chins Could Kill, right? They had a location set, right? And then they got to Tennessee, and that location fell through. So they had a very short amount of time to secure a location to shoot the film, right? And they ended up meeting up with this southern kind of sleazebag entrepreneur named Gary Holt. And they kept looking for places to shoot, right? While the time before they're supposed to already start shooting is getting closer and closer. So the cabin that they settle on had basically been a house that cows went and hung out in and took shits in. So when they first got to the cabin, there was no electricity, no plumbing, no telephone, and there was like 4 inches of cow shit all over the house. So they decided, because they had to start shooting, that they were going to start on the exterior shots while anyone not currently filming, that means actors, like everyone not currently involved with a scene, were building and like tearing walls out and cleaning all the poop up and getting the set put together so that they could film there.
Crazy.
But yeah, this was some badass stuff.
Right. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that, and I feel like it's enough.
Okay, that works.
That was excellent.
I will move on to the actors. First, we've got Ellen Sandweiss. Vine shouldn't go there. And she played Cheryl Williams. She was born in Detroit, Michigan on December 30th, 1958. And Ellen was actually an old high school buddy and former Super 8 actor that Sam and Bruce knew. After The Evil Dead, she left acting, but she did return to it in 2006. She's done pretty much exclusively horror movies. Her credits include Within the Woods, the Super 8 short film they used to finance Evil Dead. The Evil Dead, Satan's Playground, which I've watched and was funny. My Name is Bruce, which I've watched. Brutal Massacre, The Dread, Dangerous Women, which is an interesting thing because it was filmed with Betsy Baker and Teresa Tilley, who were the other two women in the original Evil Dead. And it was like a TV show where they had evil doubles that they were supposed to stop from doing evil stuff, which is, I think is pretty funny.
Sure.
She was also in Dark Fields, and she was a voice in the Evil Dead reboot. And then she was in the Ash vs. Evil Dead show. Next, we've got Teresa Tilley. So she was actually credited as Sarah York. That doesn't look comfortable, and that's Shelley. She was born in Detroit, Michigan on November 6th, 1953, and she made her debut in The Evil Dead. Not wanting to get pinged by SAG, she was credited as Sarah York. It didn't work. They found out, and she got fined anyway. That's really the only movie she did aside from the web series Dangerous Women. She's actually a stand-up comedian. That's kind of what she did after Evil Dead. And they did an interview in the mid 2000s. And they did it with Bruce Campbell and the three ladies of Evil Dead. And they all the three of those women still say that shooting The Evil Dead was the most miserable experiences of their lives. Betsy Baker, We're Gonna Get You, played Linda. She was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on May 8th, 1955. Betsy had done some industrials in Detroit, and she was cast in Evil Dead because she had a girl next door demeanor. After Evil Dead, she rented motorhomes to people. She returned to acting in films with the movie Brutal Massacre and Lake Erie. And those are the only horror movies she did. She did other movies, but I don't really care about those. Next, we've got Rich DeManicore. And he was actually credited as Hal Delrich. Definitely a Chad, and he was Scott. I have no idea where he's from or how old he is. I'm assuming that he's from Michigan.
Born at a place and time.
Yeah, he took that stage name, and it was comprised of the first names of his roommates, so he could hide the work from the union. But they found out, fined him, and he eventually got out of the business altogether. Next, we've got Bruce the Chin Campbell. He was the final guy, and he was Ashley J. Williams. He was born in Royal Oak, Michigan on June 22nd, 1958. Bruce actually began acting with Sam Raimi in his Super 8 films when they were teenagers. Now he's like a celebrated author, and he's like the blue-collar B-movie actor. He's been in countless movies and television shows. He's super genuine, and it makes him probably one of my favorite actors ever. He's also done all of the voice acting for the Evil Dead video games and the Ash Williams character in Dead by Daylight. His horror credits are extensive, but he's been The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Maniac Cop, Sundown, The Vampire Retreat, Maniac Cop 2, which is funny because he's only in it for like the first 10 minutes, Waxworks 2, Lost in Time, Mind Warp, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, Bubba Hotep, The Woods, My Name is Bruce, and then he had a cameo in Evil Dead, the reboot.
Yeah.
And speaking of cameos, he has basically cameoed in almost every film that Sam Raimi has ever done.
Nice.
He may not show up on film, but there's got to be some film out there of him being this, like, whatever role Sam Raimi decided to throw him in. And then the final actor, we've got the classic, which is Sam's Delta 88. It was born in Lansing, Michigan in 1973. And its horror credits include Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, The Gift, and Drag Me to Hell.
Can I quote that character real quick?
Best
Okay.
character in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite line.
That's all the actors. So I mean, we could talk about like Barbara Carey and Rob Tapert and Ted Raimi, and basically they did a thing called shimping, where after an actor had fucking had enough and was just like, I'm gone, they would just throw latex and monster movie makeup on someone and make them stand in, essentially. But we'll just move on. We're done with that. We'll go to the score. So the score was done by Joseph Loduca. He was born in 1958 in Michigan. He was an accomplished jazz guitarist in Detroit.
Nice.
And he's actually been a constant collaborator with Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, and Bruce Campbell. His first film score was Evil Dead, but his horror credits are The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Brotherhood of the Wolf, which was a tight movie, Saint Ange, The Messengers, Boogeyman 2, Pay the Ghost, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky. And before I move away from the actors, I do think it is something that's important to note is that Sam Raimi was asked in an interview about the infamous tree assault that happens to Ellen Sandweiss's character, Cheryl.
Yeah.
And his direct quote was, he regrets ever putting that in the movie.
Yeah.
Basically, it's lazy story writing.
Right.
Didn't need to be there.
He wants to make
Did the movie
movies
no good.
that scare people, make people laugh, make people cry. He doesn't want to make people uncomfortable. And when he was really young, when he made this movie, he wasn't really thinking like that.
Yeah, he was just looking for shock value. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm glad to hear him say, like, I regret doing that and I wish I hadn't done it. So I just wanted to throw that in there to finish off the actors. But now, JD's love affair with Tom Sullivan is about to...
My love affair begins.
Tell us about the special effects.
The special effects credits, they run deep with Bart Pierce, Sam Raimi, Kurt Roth, and Bruce Campbell. They all were contributors to the special effects, but the spotlight shines ever so brightly on the skin of Tom Sullivan. He was just a master, an expert of makeup and special effects and
martial arts.
He was also uncredited as an animator and art director of The Evil Dead. So here's a little backstory. Sullivan met Sam Raimi because of his wife, Penny, who was also attending Michigan State University at the same time with, Bruce Campbell and all of them. So they bonded quickly, though, over their love of stop-frame animation, which we've seen a good bit of in the film The Evil Dead. So
Yeah, the stop motion was really good.
The stop motion was phenomenal, and Sullivan was really into that. He was also into claymation and puppetry, which all factors in The Evil Dead. Sullivan is a master of working with foam and latex and fake blood, and he actually innovated how fake blood was done after The Evil Dead. He was the one to add coffee grounds to the traditional recipe of corn syrup and red food coloring.
Well, I will actually, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I will give the listeners the exact ingredients to make horror movie blood.
Do it.
All right? You need 6 pints of clear Caro syrup, 1 pint of non-dairy creamer, 3 pints of red food coloring, and 1 drop of blue food coloring. The Caro syrup is your foundation, the base of your blood. Pour syrup into a large ceramic bowl. In the medium bowl, the equipment you'll need is a large ceramic bowl, a medium-sized bowl, a spoon, and cleaning products. In the medium bowl, stir the non-dairy creamer until it turns into a nice paste. This will provide opacity. Gradually fold the non-dairy paste into the syrup. Stir in the red food coloring. Add a drop of blue food coloring for color density. Test on white surface. Coat aspiring actor from the top down. To remove, place actor in hot shower, fully clothed, and let sit for 30 minutes or until clean.
That's awesome. Phenomenal.
You can try this at home.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Do it. Send us pictures.
So, in my opinion, though, the coffee grounds were essential because I feel like they took that bright red food coloring color and it sort of like muted it down some and gave it almost more of like that heme iron, like that rusty kind of dark blood color that, sort of that it's drying a bit and it's oxidized. I don't know. I think that's just a kick-ass touch. But anyway, sorry, were you finished? I didn't mean to.
No, this is your jam. I was definitely finished. I just wanted to read out the ingredients and hope that listeners try it out.
Hell yeah. Coat yourself in fake blood.
Yeah.
Now that you have
Send
the
us
recipe,
pictures.
send us pictures. There's no you've got nothing to lose. But maybe don't wear your best clothing. I would say
Yeah, don't wear your Sunday best when you make the fake
Or
blood.
wear your Sunday best because YOLO.
yes. Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Fuck it.
You only live once that we know of. So Sullivan did some shit that just completely impressed me. One of the things that he did was he created and designed the Book of the Dead, aka Necronomicon, and he
So cool.
handcrafted that and illustrated it all himself, which just is a testament to how prolific an artist he really is, because there were some really amazing drawings, illustrations in that, and just it was a three-dimensional work of art, as well as, just designed beautifully in 2D, and just every aspect of it.
It was so good it looked like you could cast spells from it.
Yeah, it really was
Yeah.
a work of art. I cannot gush enough over that. But anyway, he was credited for his horror effects in the following films. Within the Woods in 1978, that was sort of like the precursor to The Evil Dead. Then he did The Evil Dead in 81, Evil Dead 2 in 87, The Fly 2 in 1998. That was sort of like the sequel to Cronenberg's Fly, but Cronenberg didn't direct The Fly 2.
It's not great.
No, but
Oh yeah, The Fly 2 sucks.
still enjoyable for me. I
hated it.
I
Yeah, I
like
didn't enjoy it.
the vomit and the gross fly hairs.
I like the effects,
Right.
Yeah, the
but
effects
it didn't
were
like
solid.
the actual movie.
Right.
Right,
Like I hated The Fly 2 so much that I forgot about it until you brought it up, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that movie is ass."
Well, now you're gonna have to re-block it from your memory.
It's true.
Just go slam your head into the wall until you
Maybe
forget
we
again,
could get
Joe.
Right.
drunk together after this, and we'll forget. Anyway, he did the special effects also in the film Army of Darkness in 1992, and so yeah,
Tom Sullivan, we love you, and we are happy that you've made these things
tip our caps to you,
because
sir.
they bring me joy. I don't know about these two other assholes, but
Hey,
for me, they
No,
bring
I
me
love
joy.
good special effects and good stop motion, especially.
Beams of joy sprouting from me everywhere. All of my bits are glowing with joy.
Every orifice is just spewing.
And I think
with
it's
joy.
fun to note that the clock that Ellen Sandweiss is drawing,
Mhm.
that was drawn by Tom Sullivan. He did
Right.
that as well.
And he also designed the, what was it?
Kandarian?
Kandarian, that's right. He designed the Kandarian dagger.
Yep.
Sure.
And most of the props were all masterminded by Tom Sullivan. But like I said, the other creators of the film also had uncredited roles in the special effects.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, no job in this film was too small for anyone to do. So
Right.
actors, like, if you weren't on set that day to film, then you were doing crew jobs. Like, they were very much so everybody did everything.
Right?
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our personal experience with the movie.
Cool.
Joe, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't remember. I had to be like 16, 17 when I first saw this movie, probably in a heavily edited form on one cable channel or another. And I love it. It's a great horror movie. It's a great example of, what you can do with and a lot of the horror movies we watch are kind of good for this. What you can do with a very limited budget if you're super creative and don't care if you hurt yourself.
Or others.
Or others, yeah, or the people around you. And yeah, like usually like my wife and I, we try to watch it every Halloween because it's such a good horror movie.
I love
Joe, have you ever mounted your wife to a plank of wood? I was just curious.
Gentleman never asks and a lady never tells.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
it. Yes.
Wow.
So, speaking of willing to hurt people,
Yeah. Not a good segue, but go ahead.
well, no, you were just talking about the fact that low budget, you're willing to push boundaries, right?
Right.
This was a injury-filled production. Right?
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Bruce Campbell ended up with a horribly sprained ankle. There's a scene where he comes in to check on Linda, and he has a visible limp when he's walking into that room. And that's because the scene that he filmed where the Deadite is clawing at his leg. I guess that was a miserable thing to film and had to be filmed a ton of times. And after it was, cut, that's a wrap on that scene. Let's move on. He was so excited and jubilated that he ran down the hill with like his hands in the air, like, I'm free, caught a loose branch and just twisted his ankle hard. Right. So the story goes is that he was in so much pain and he was just emotionally exhausted from all of the work he's been putting into the production that in the midst of this pain, he's just kind of like almost cry laughing. And Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert go each grab sticks, right? And they start poking him in the ankle with these sticks, right? And because of the fact he's half crazy and he's laughing, he continues to laugh through the agony. And that just goads them on because they think he's having a great time.
Right.
So they just kept stabbing his ankle with these sticks. But yeah, the hits with the boards, like those were foam boards and didn't feel nice. Ellen Sandweiss ended up with stitches. The scene where the lady gets cut up into Shelley gets cut up into pieces. They had to lay under the floor with like a head sticking out, an arm sticking. It was Rob Tapert and her, an arm sticking out, a leg sticking out, so that they could get that wiggling effect. It was just a miserable experience. And to get greatness, or what is it? For all great art, ye must suffer. There we go. That's what we got out of that.
Yeah.
And I apologize for going on that.
No, you're fine. I know how much you love this movie.
All right.
But yeah, I don't have a ton to add outside of that. If you're a fan of horror movies and you're kind of new school, like you haven't dug into these kind of trailblazing early days horror films, then definitely watch this entire series because it's worth your time.
Excellent.
And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have.
All right, JD, let's talk about your personal experience with the film.
Surely.
Don't call me Shirley.
I'll try not to. I remember. Anyway, this was most certainly a VHS rental for me. That's how far back we could go into my experience with the film. It was one of those instances where I was, okay, Grandma, let me, set me free in the video store.
I love these stories.
And yeah, go ahead, get you a Nintendo cartridge and a movie. So I turned to her with The Evil Dead, and I'm sure that probably didn't sound great to her, but hey, she had to keep me happy, and it really worked. So I just kind of remember eating my Tombstone pizza as we did on Saturday night.
And as you continue to do to this day.
As I continue to do, yeah, I will eat a Tombstone cheese pizza. But anyway, I just kind of remember being like, oh, well, ugh. I don't know if anything with like a marinara, the tomato base, like a red sauce is a good idea during any of the Evil Dead series of films, because it's just so graphic and gruesome. And I remember just being like, I hadn't seen anything quite like it. The horror films I've seen prior to this one were probably not as gruesome,
right?
Not as bloody, not as many red substances as
or Alpo or cream corn,
right? Yeah, there was just so much gushing and gooiness and lots of gelatinousness and just the color red everywhere. And so as you're biting into your pizza slice, you're just kind of like, your stomach's turning a little. You're not really like, you stop tasting it after a while. You're just like, oh. At least that's how I am.
Right,
so,
right.
As a first experience with the film, my takeaway was just maybe something else. Eat something else. Just don't eat
things with marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I was shocked by the film. I loved it. I still love it. And this is a regular view for me.
Yep.
Big fan. That's all. So yeah, Kaine, if you want to go ahead and share your experience with the film.
I don't really have a lot to say about The Evil Dead.
Aside from that you're in romantic love with it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I got into Evil Dead in a weird way. Right. I saw Army of Darkness first and was mesmerized, was in romantic love with the blood geyser from that film, which we'll talk about. we're talking about. I'm not going to go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it. But
next week, stay tuned.
the week after.
Oh, right, because
After
Evil
that.
Dead 2 and then Army of
Yeah.
Darkness, right.
So after that, I was like, I want to watch. This is the third one. I want to watch the two that came before it. So I watched them in order from there.
Mhm.
And I think that the love that I had for Army of Darkness just tripled. Like my heart grew 3 sizes when I watched this movie.
Sure.
It hit all of these different areas in my brain that just screamed with joy. Like I was scared at points. I was laughing at points. I was grossed out at points.
Mhm.
And it just brought me so much joy. And it continues to. Like I have all of the DVDs that were released as Books of the Dead.
Mhm.
So I've got like the one that looks like the first one. Then I've got the one that looks like Evil Dead 2. Like I've got all of the Books of the Dead, the Necronomicon's
Sure.
Evil Dead releases. I've read Bruce Campbell's books. I have drawn pictures. I've got a coat with Evil Dead on it. I've got Ash, the McFarlane doll. Like
Yeah.
I obsess over this movie. I don't have a pop of Ash from Evil Dead, but I don't really collect pops. I
Right.
just collect them when people give them to me because they're like, oh, looks like a pop Kaine would like. And then
Sure.
I keep them in the box and I stare at them from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, I was already a horror fan, but I do feel like this movie really pushed me over. This was the one that
Tip the scale.
it tipped it to the point where I didn't want to watch other movies most of the time. Like I didn't want to see other movies. I only wanted to watch more horror movies because I wanted to get that same feeling that I
Mhm.
got from watching this movie.
It's very relatable.
I love this movie so much.
It's a good movie.
And I don't have any questions to throw out
Right.
there because I have dug so deep into the making of this movie, you know, like lore about this movie, that I don't have any of those questions. In
Right.
fact, if you have questions, feel free to send us a message
Yeah.
at our website or go to our Discord. You could even ask JD because I'm sure he knows most of the stuff. And if he doesn't know, he can ask me and tell you.
If you get into our Discord, you'll probably get instant gratification.
Yes.
Because Kaine will almost immediately see that message.
Yes.
I have a tidbit to add about
Do
the
it.
Evil Dead. So, you know, at the time the Evil Dead came out, the critics did not love it.
No.
They weren't fans, but you know who was a fan?
Stephen
Tony
King.
Danza.
Stephen King. Yes.
Stop. Hold on. Joe,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this Tony Danza thing. All right. Me and JD talked about it earlier. Stop bringing him up. He's not in any horror movies.
You don't
he was
know
the
that.
boss. All right. He was the boss. He was not in any horror movies. So stop it.
Now, actually, Angela was the boss.
Touche.
Tony Danza is a fine Italian-American actor and a very handsome man.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say, A-O-O-A.
And I will not hear him slandered in this way.
I'm not slandering him. All right. You can be in romantic love with Tony Danza. He's just not going to be in any of these episodes. He's not going to have a surprise casting in one of these horror movies that we're covering. He's not in horror movies. Okay.
Fine.
So yes, JD, tell us about Stephen King.
So he just loved this movie, and his rave review helped sort of boost it into its popularity. Its vast reach. The vast reach of his influence helped The Evil Dead into the Cannes Film Festival in France, and that
It absolutely did.
It was a big deal. So
Yeah, that's why it got picked up and released to theaters. It's because Stephen King called it a original movie.
Nice. That's super cool.
yeah, he was very, very into it. You know, there was one other little tidbit that I failed to mention about Tom Sullivan. I didn't realize this, but he actually did the special horror effects in the film Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday in '93.
Movie sucked.
Yeah, it really was terrible.
Yeah,
but,
it wasn't great, but the special effects were good.
Right.
yeah.
Like demon seed Jason squirming around on the ground was really creepy and
Sure.
gross. It was
And
one of those moist puppets you would have loved, Joe.
I do love
absolutely.
moist puppets. I do.
And he did the horror effects for the film Absence of Light in 2006 and The Dread in 2007. And that's all I have to
That's
say.
all you have to say about that?
That is all.
And I'm just going to have a final comment as we drag this episode past the hour mark. Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead specifically, has a reputation for being kind of low budget cheese. But we watched the 4K transfer of this movie, and those special effects, for the most part, held up pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
I mean, there's a few dolls, like there's a few
Right.
like, you know, effects that, but they looked like that back then too.
Sure, yeah.
It didn't change.
That pencil to the ankle was
Oh my
juicy.
God,
Yeah,
right?
That was real juicy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the slashings and stabbings and impalements looked really good.
And they held up.
The Lee press on fingernails scraping against the face, you know, that was kind of opening up the cheek. That was nice. I like that.
The shotgun wounds on
Oh, yeah.
Evil Cheryl, those were explosive, and those were definitely wet plops.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we could keep gushing on and on, but what I recommend is for our listeners to watch The Evil Dead. If you haven't already seen it, see it.
Yes.
If you've seen
I
it,
agree.
see it again.
If you watch The Evil Dead, and you fucking should. If you don't watch it,
Then
shame
fuck
on
you.
Shame on you.
You failed yourself and
Unless
your loved
those
ones.
types of films like make you uncomfortable and you get by better just by listening to three assholes talk about them, then that's fine.
That's
But
fair.
That
if you
works.
can watch
That works.
horror movies and you've watched other horror movies and you don't watch this horror movie, shame on you. But if you do watch it, let us
Don't
know what
Evil
you think.
Dead shame people. That's really inappropriate.
Wait,
You're gonna get us canceled.
they can't cancel us.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, we pay for regardless. If you watch The Evil Dead, let us know what you think. You can find us at WeGiveYouBrainworms.com, as well as most of the places the podcasts live. Send us a message or comment. Also, we warn you against forgetting to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube.
Like us.
And click the bell.
Yes, and click some of them bells.
It's right there. Just click it.
Yep. I'm going to push the button.
Are we done here?
Bye, love you. Bye.
Yeah.
It's good advice. Don't blow your full load, people. If you're listening,